How's it going, guys? All right, so within the last video where we last left off, we were validating our user login form, and then we also checked to see if the user is logging in with a registered email. If not, it redirected us to an error page and displayed our error. Now, with that being said, there's two comments that I want to set up here. The first one will be um, check is verified. Okay, and then the other comment that I want to see is to do um, check to see if the account is active. Okay, so these two particular, well, this one we can set up now, but I'm gonna just leave it for now. So these two comments over here, what I'm doing here is basically there's two more methods that I need to create within the application DAO. One is going to check for whether or not the account is verified. The other one is going to check if the account is active. So that will require checking these two fields over here, active or verified. So now, since we are registering the user within the system, um, if you've seen the demonstration video, I had set up a functionality where if you register a user, it'll send a notification to the user's email asking them to verify the account, and then it's supposed to take them to a page where it's what you call it, where it will allow them to re-enter or create a new password, and then from there on it will verify the account and set it to active. This and then for the active part is for if let's say you have a user who hasn't logged into the system for quite some time, the account will be deactivated obviously, and it will set it back to 0. So with this process here, we're gonna set up in a method within the application DAO again to check whether or not that account is active or not. If not, obviously it will redirect them to another page, giving them instructions as to what they need to do to what you call it to reactivate their account. But for now, I'm not gonna do that because we're gonna do this at a later stage when we do start working with setting up our email functionality and so forth. So for now, what I want to do is here. What I want to do is get get the hashed password. All right. Okay. So now, what we need to do now is here within the application DAO, since we are validating here at the top to see if the user is using a registered email, we can then proceed to use this valid, or we are basically verifying, validating this email. So since it's a valid email, we can then go and use this email to get all other attributes for the user to log in. So here within the application DAO, what I'll do is I'll create a method over here, get stored user hashed password. All right, and then from there you want to say public static, it's going to be a string. All right, and then we're going to say get hash. All right, and then obviously our parameter is going to be the email. All right, okay, so now I'll say connect, which will be connect. I'll set it to null initially. Actually, let me just copy this. Let me just copy all of this. All right, and then I'll set a value here, which will be hashed password. All right, and then we'll set it to null initially. Okay, what else? So we're going to say string, get hash password SQL equals to that. All right, that's our query. All right, okay. Stack trace. Just gonna put that there. Okay. So obviously we're gonna set the connection. Again, I'm just gonna copy it from here. Right. And then we're gonna all right. So say prepare. Right, and then we're gonna get the get hashed password SQL, and then set. In fact, again, I'm gonna copy this because it's the same thing. We're using the email to get that value, so might as well just copy and paste it there. And then again, we're gonna say we're gonna execute the statement. Again, we're gonna do the exact same thing there, and I'll paste it there. All right, so while set dot next, we're gonna say hash password will equal to set dot get get string, and obviously we're gonna get the password. All right, so what we're doing there is we're gonna get, look at that from users. All right, so we're getting the password with the password that's stored within the database here, where the email equals to the email that we're going to be inputting within the field. And then if it's true, I mean if it's correct, we're going to say we're going to set that value there, and then we're going to return hashed password. Otherwise, if there's nothing, it will obviously return null since we already initialized it there. All right, so what I need to do is, let me just comment this try block here, and that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Let me just comment the end of the method over there. All right, so here within our auth controller, this is where we will get our hash password. So we'll say string db hashed password equal to application dot get stored hash password, where it equals to that email over there. All right, so now since we've done this, again, there's another method that we need to work on. So now here within our functions folder, I created a hashing class over here. So within here, we're gonna create a check or compare compare uh, passwords. Static. It's gonna return a boolean value which equals to uh, and then it's gonna take in two parameters, which is going to be the input password, and then the other one is going to be hashed password. Obviously, by default, it will return false. Otherwise, what we're going to do now is use the bcrypt functionality to compare our passwords. So what we need to do is if b um, bcrypt dot check, if I'm not mistaken, check passwords. So we're going to say input password and then hashed password. Oh, sorry, hashed hashed password. If it's gonna return true if those two passwords match. Otherwise, it will return false. So let me do this. Now, since these two methods over here, bcrypt check passwords and bcrypt hash values, you could have used this within our classes, but I just felt it would be much better to just do it within its own class. And as soon as we want to do anything else, we can just come here and make our changes and so forth. So let me just verify. Yeah. Okay. All right, so that's our method to verify the passwords. So back within our controller over here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do um, let me just keep it at that. If what we'll do is hash dot verify passwords. So obviously, what we're gonna do is we're taking the password that the user is inputting within the field, that one over there. We want to put that as our first parameter, and then since again we are getting the hashed password via the email that we are validating here at the top. Since it's validated here at the top, we can take this and then use that db stored hard. Get that password, the hash password within the field using that email, and then if it matches with whatever the user is inputting within the field, um, what you call it, if it validates with it, if it's correct, we will then pass this step. Otherwise it will just return an error. So again, what we're gonna do is, yes, we're gonna do this. We're gonna take this, we're gonna set that up there, and then we'll say incorrect username or password. All right, what am I doing? Let me just copy that. Let me say, and then change that to, all right, so if the passwords do not match with whatever is in the DB, it'll redirect us back to the login page and display that error. So I'll say end of validated password. So now within the user form, we will take that message over there, or display error message over there, and paste it there. Then what we're gonna do is take that, and then we will change this and this, and then obviously the text will be danger. Okay, so again, let me just explain. Since we are able to validate that this user is using an email that's registered within the system, we can then use that very same, since it's valid, if it's valid, it'll we can use that email to get the password that's stored within the database, and then compare the two. If the two, and then compare the password that's stored within the database with whichever one the user is inputting within the field. Now, if it's correct, it'll then pass the step and then go to login successful. Otherwise, it's just going to redirect us back to the login page with an error message. Okay, so let's quickly test that out. I'm going to run the server. All right, guys, the server is up. Let's just test our app there. So I'm going to refresh the page. Okay, so um, now I'm gonna use a password that exists within the system, right? Which is admin and support. As you can see there, there it is. Now the password that I used here was password 123. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put in some nonsense there just to see if it will pick up the correct password. Okay, so there you have it. So it was able to take um, this email, which is correct, which does exist within the email, and then from there on, we are using it to get the stored hashed password within the database, and then we are storing it within this value, and that's what we are comparing with there. So now the input field, the password will be placed within the input field, is being compared to the hashed passwords that's stored within the database using that email. So now I'm going to put in the correct password over there, which is password 123. As you can see, we were able to successfully log in. So um, just to explain again, the bcrypt functionality, um, these methods that you get with the bcrypt crypto, or what you call it, the Spring Security crypto um, dependency, we are then given certain functionalities where we can hash passwords and generate salts. What am I doing? Hash passwords and generate salts. And with that, these methods that we are using here to compare these passwords, in the background, this knows what to do in order to compare the two, to compare a hashed value with a normal string. So you can read about this on there's all sorts of resources where you can read about these functionalities. But yeah, so because we are able to get that password from from our system there, using the validated email, we are then able to compare the two passwords, the one the user is inputting in the field and the one that's stored within the database. If this matches, then our login is successful. So yeah, so I hope I made sense. If not, my apologies. But yeah. So again, guys, I think that's it. Or actually, no. Since we are able to validate the user, we can then now proceed to redirecting the user to the system. So now that means here we need to get the user type. Okay, so meaning that within here we need to get the user type of the user. So we're gonna say get user type, and then we'll say public static. Again, it's gonna be a string, and then we're gonna say get user type. Okay, and then obviously we're gonna use the email to do that. So string email. Again, we're gonna do the exact same thing over here. Paste it there. This time we're gonna say user type. Okay, and then we're gonna set our get user type try. Obviously down here we're gonna return the user type, right? Okay, so we're pretty much gonna do the exact same thing that we did over here. So what I'll do is I'll copy this try block over there and then paste it there. All right, so we need the SQL string. So we'll say which will equal to let let me just make sure I get the correct field. So I'm gonna say user type from users where email equals to that, right? So what I'll do here is copy that there, paste it there, and then user type we change to that, and then what else? Oh, obviously we're gonna have to get the that field over there, which is that. All right. All right, Joel. So just to recap, we are using the email to retrieve the user type, where that email, where this the where the user is, the email the user is using to log into the system. We're getting that user type through that email if it's correct. Well, actually, it will be correct regardless. So, and then here we are just setting the value to that user type that we've set up over here. Otherwise, it will just return null if there's nothing. So, let me do this. All right, so I think that's what we need for user type. So here within the auth controller, you're gonna say string user type will equal to application DAO get user type using the email that's validated, and then from there, what we will do is we're gonna create a switch statement. Okay, also need to add another statement here. Set session if no errors. right, then okay, so HTTP session will be session, and then we put to request dot in fact, I don't know if we can do that. I think what I need to do is here within the parameters here, I'll say HTTP session, which will equal to session. All right, and then here we're going to access that session attribute. We're going to say session dot set attribute, which will, the first one will be token, or rather let me call it session token. Let me capitalize, so camel case it, and then obviously we're going to take the token that we set up over here, and of which the value that we're going to get here is obviously the token string that we are setting within the hidden field. All right, so the next one will be session um, session dot set attribute. The next one will be user, or rather, let me camel case it user. You know what? And then right, will be user, and then we have to set up the user model there. So user equals to, for now we'll just say null. All right, and then I'm gonna say user over there. Okay, so there's another method we need to create within the application DAO that's going to give us this user details. So here what we do is all right, so I'll say public static, and then obviously it's going to return a user, and then say get user. That over there. Again, we're going to use the email as our string, as our input. Then from there I'll import the class. All right, I'm going to take that over there, and which will be, obviously we're going to get everything from the user, so it's going to be select all from users where email equals to that. All right, and then okay, so I actually forgot to close the connection here. I'm gonna copy that and just paste it right after the catch clause. maybe we also need to close the all right, just gonna copy that again, paste it there, and do the exact same thing here. Looks like I don't need to do that there, but in any case, let me just set that there. So what we're gonna do is um, obviously set the connection and then prepare the statements along with this over here. So I'm gonna copy all of that and then paste it within there, get the correct SQL string, and then we're gonna get the while loop as well. You know what? Let me just remove this for now. Right. Okay. So now here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the user and then say user, which will equal to null initially, and then from here I'm gonna say user dot set what are we setting? Okay, the first name. Then we're gonna take this and paste it within here. Set string. Firstly, I need to say user equals to new user. All right, and then let's just move that. We'll copy and paste this a couple of times. So what we mainly need is the first name, last name, email, and the user type, and maybe the created at. So set last name. Then obviously we'll get the last name field. Here we need to get the first name field, and then here we're gonna get the email. Set email. Then here we're gonna get the user type. Set user type. Let's see what else would we wanna take. Maybe the created at. And I'll say created at, and I'm not sure what the I think it's get date, if I'm not mistaken. Not too sure. Let me just leave that out for now before we complicate things. But in any case, I'm just gonna get those four. Then here at the bottom here, I'll return our user. So it's first name, last name, email, and user type. Yeah, I'll just say set okay, that's fine. All right, so with this method here, we can then now come back to the auth controller and then just set that to application down dot get user. Okay, so that sets the email. Now let's set up the switch statement. All right, so the first thing we need to do is check for the user type, which is going to be that there. All right, so then we're going to say case. If user type is admin, return. I'm going to say redirect to admin and then dashboard. If case user, then we're gonna just do the exact same thing we did here. We're gonna say return user dashboard. Uh, uh, Default, I'm gonna copy that there, paste it there. I'll redirect to the error page. Call that login error. And then I'll just say something went wrong, contact admin. Okay, so there seems to be an error here. What is this thing doing? Okay, there seems to be an error here for some odd reason. So uh, error view. Let me change that to that. Okay. All right. So I just need to check what exactly these errors are. Just a moment there, please. All right, guys, I'm back. Okay. So it looks like I forgot. Since up here I set the model, I mean the method as a model in view type of method. I actually forgot that I cannot return it as a string since this is not returning a string. So it was a bit of an oversight again on my side. But in any case, to rectify this, I have to then recreate the model in view and then return the dashboard, what you call it, the dashboard routes. So I'll have to do the exact same thing with the user, what you call it, route. So I'll say model in view and say user view and then view model in view. Okay, so in there I'll say user and then add dashboard. And then obviously here I'm gonna have to return that. All right, so apologies again, it was a bit of a oversight on my part. So yeah, so hopefully this works. If it doesn't, I might need to change this back to a string value, to return a string value, which means that these other things might change. But who knows? Let's see if it will work or not. All right, so I'm gonna run the server and then I'm gonna pause it. We'll check it once it's back up. All right, server is up. Let me just refresh there. All right, so I'm going to use the admin account, and since he's an admin user, it should redirect us to the admin dashboard. So let's check that out. I'm going to say password, login. All right, so we are in the admin dashboard. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to test out the what you call it, the apologies for that, guys. I'm going to test out the what you call it, the admin user, I mean the user, the basic user, to see if it's going to redirect us to the user dashboard. So I'm going to use Steve over here, and then as you can see, he's a basic user. So when I log in now, I'm going to log in. It should redirect us back to the what you call it, the user dashboard. Password 123. Okay, so something went wrong there. All right, so since we have an issue, so let me just verify. So I believe the password that I used for him was password 123. All right, so there seems to be an issue there. All right, so but in any case, with the, as you saw with the admin user, we were able to redirect to the admin dashboard. So with Steve, for some odd reason, you know what? Let me just check this again. Okay, there are no spaces there. Okay, let me just check and see if I put in incorrect password, what will it do? Okay, so definitely the email is correct, and definitely it is checking whether the password is correct or not. So, but which means that there's an issue somewhere here. Return admin view. Otherwise, if it's user, return user view. Then it skips this and then comes back to this part over here. Uh, all right, I'll have to check this out once we're offline, but yeah, I'll see what's causing that issue over there. All right, I think that's it for the video. Let me just verify first quickly. Uh, oh, I think I know what the issue. I think I know what the issue is there. I think it was an incorrect spelling there. If you check there, it says users instead of user. So the again, it was an oversight on my part. Apologies for that. All right, guys, the server is up. I want to test again to see if it was just that spelling error that was causing the issue. All right, so I'm gonna try out Steve again. And I'm gonna say password 23. Okay, so it was just a spelling error that caused all of these issues. All right, so within the next video, we're gonna authenticate, or we're gonna do some access control. As you can see, when the user is logged in, if they want to, they can get to the dashboard page, and of which they are not supposed to do that. So we're gonna create some access control and also display the user's data over here, and maybe also even create the logout button for us at the top there. All right, guys. So that's it for now in terms of the video, or in terms of what we need for the user authentication for the time being. Again, apologies, it took longer than I anticipated, but yeah, at least we got it done. So again, guys, I appreciate any support. For those of you who haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys within the next video. Cheers for now.